Fritz, who's state's attorney for St. Mary's County. Did you get to see the lunar eclipse?
No, I didn't see that, but I
too
know
bad.
tonight's the full moon.
I know. It's going to be awesome. A blood moon, as they say. But thank
right.
you so much for coming in. I know how busy you are with your schedule, but you took time out to come in and talk with us today. Let's talk a little bit about St. Mary's County because a gentleman running against you in the next election, he brought something up that was interesting about domestic violence. And there is an uptick in domestic violence in St. Mary's County. Are you seeing that, Rick, or?
No, actually, according to the Office of Administrative Courts, the domestic violence, not only the peace orders, but also the domestic violence cases are going down. Now, we have to keep in mind that one of the big things that we see is an educational effort for reporting. So there's more reporting going on, but the actual charges being filed are going down.
Oh, I see. Okay. Why is that? People, they're not pressing charges, or?
No, I don't think it's a matter of they're not pressing charges. I think that, we have a dedicated unit in our office. We have one attorney specifically assigned to domestic violence. We have an investigator, and we have a coordinator. So we're placing primary emphasis on the prosecution of these individuals that assault their spouses. How long does it take for the word to get out? Now, we also have to keep in mind that in any society where we have it fueled by drugs, we have it fueled by alcohol.
Right.
There are problems. But I think we have a pretty good handle on it.
How long have you been state's attorney?
16 years as state's attorney, but prior to that, 10 years as deputy state's attorney and 4 years as an assistant
So 30
state's
years.
attorney.
I mean, you've been
roughly 30.
Yeah, give or take.
And how have you seen St. Mary's County change in those years? I mean,
Well,
huge changes, right?
The only thing you have to do is drive up and down Route 235.
Right.
And you know how it's changed. The population's increasing. Luckily, the type of people who are moving down here are highly educated, connected with the base, so we have a really good citizen base.
Mm-hmm. The overall crime in St. Mary's County versus maybe the other counties in Southern Maryland, how does St. Mary's County stack up? Is there an area where it's having more problems than, say, the other two counties?
No, let me put it this way. Charles County has an extreme crime problem. They're doing the best they can to handle it. St. Mary's and Calvert County have a fairly low crime rate. I've often said every time I give a speech, I always say, thank God we're surrounded by water. People don't come at us from 360 degrees.
Right.
In order to get to St. Mary's County, they have to make an effort to get to St. Mary's County.
Right.
Now, of course, we know that there's an extreme problem with opiates. Anytime you have a problem with opiates, you're going to have people going out trying to get money to buy various types of drugs, which kind of fuels the crime rate.
Right.
We have an excellent narcotics division with the Sheriff's Department and also with the state police.
Danny Aliata does a great job.
He does.
Gets
He
a lot
really
of information
does.
from St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office and Vice Narcotics. But the one thing that I hate getting press releases from him because it's constant and they're constantly arresting people. And it's opiates. It's heroin.
Well,
it runs the gamut down here of drugs.
Not only down here, but if you want to take heroin and opiates, it's throughout the state of Maryland, it's throughout the United States. People ask me, how are we going to get a handle on this? And we hear it every single day. We hear it with illegal people coming into the United States.
Right.
Now we hear it with, it's ISIS and the terrorists going to be coming across the southern borders.
Right.
I can tell you right now, if you have thousands of children walking across our borders, what do you think the drug dealers are doing?
Of course.
I mean, they are flooding in here.
Right.
Latest statistics are something like 400 metric tons of drugs come out of South America. 200 of those metric tons are slated for the United States.
Wow.
They walk across the border. We're not closing the border. Drugs are flooding in here from South America. You look at the United States Coast Guard with sequestering essentially budget cuts. 30% of their interdiction capabilities have been reduced. So, what can we do locally? Well, education, law enforcement. Important thing is the family. If the family's going to fall apart.
Right.
I'll give you a prime example. I have a child that's 23. I have a child that's 21. My wife and I are ready to go to bed at 10 o'clock.
Sure.
Oh,
Half
gotcha.
these kids are going out at 10 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
The party
Yes,
starts
right.
at 11.
Right.
Right.
It's like, what do you do? When do you see your children? What time do they get home?
Right.
They come strolling in the house 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
The parents aren't there. Are they high? Are they on drugs?
Right.
Are they on alcohol?
We always say nothing good happens after
Yeah.
10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Just
and
be
they
home.
want to sleep till 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
Parents really, really have to play
Boy,
an
that
increased
sounds
role.
great.
Sleep
Sleep
until
until 12, staying up all
Oh,
night.
yeah.
That's a good life, man.
Not my kids.
Not my,
No,
not my life either.
Not
Yeah.
our,
They work though. I
Right.
mean, so. But I say, but for the grace of God, there go I.
Exactly right.
I've had many parents come into my office,
Mm-hmm.
literally crying, devastated that their children are on drugs.
Right.
We're
And,
talking with Richard Fritz, who is the state attorney for St. Mary's County and would like to continue on in that role. You've had the job for 16 years. Is there anything that you feel is that you haven't accomplished? Or what going forward? What are you going to hope to do?
Well, look, when I first started this job, I ran in 98. I was sworn in 99. Right around 97, 98, the crime rate in the state of Maryland was one of the highest per 100,000 in the entire state of Maryland. With all the sheriffs, we have been able to, up to 4 years ago, last election, reduce crime by 36%.
36%.
36%.
Is that a play on the numbers? Because that seems
Well,
like a huge, dramatic,
It
drop
is.
in crime.
And what you have to look
What
at.
crime? Are we talking juvenile crime or are we talking adult
well,
crime? Because there's a difference, right?
No, let's look at juvenile crime.
Let's please.
Since 2000, and these are not my statistics,
Right.
they come from
For
the
the-
Department of Juvenile Services.
Okay.
50% juvenile crime has been reduced since 2000.
In St. Mary's County?
In St. Mary's
Okay.
County. That is
50%?
astounding.
It is astounding.
Astounding. And we see it. We see it in the courtroom.
Did all the criminals just grow up?
I guess the baby boomers are now getting out of the way.
Right.
Okay, I have a question. I'm so glad you're in here, and I hope you remember, and I'm sure you will remember this case. But it was a case in St. Mary's County that I didn't understand. I didn't get, and I don't know why it happened. And I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name here. Otha. Otha?
John Otha Dickens.
He's in jail. He beats his girlfriend or wife or whatever the case was. Beats her. He's in jail. He gets let out.
Well,
And then the next day goes back and takes her to the bedroom and starts to beat the hell out of her. An officer comes in, shoots him. He lives. Why? How does he get let out the first time to go right back to the house and abuse that woman again? I never understood how that.
Quite simply, that is a failure of the district court bonding system.
Okay.
I hear that a lot.
how does that work?
There's some issues there.
Well,
I mean, it must be frustrating on your point.
Oh, it
part
is.
too.
It is.
In your
How-
office.
How it works is this: he's originally arrested.
Right.
He goes in front of the district court commissioner. He's released on his own recognizance.
And there
or-
was a protective order in
or-
place, right?
Yeah, or on some nominal bond.
Right.
Okay.
He goes back. Okay. He gets charged with another crime. Apparently, he goes back before probably a different district court commissioner.
Okay.
That's not able to pick up on the first case, and he's let out again. And then he goes back again.
It
you know,
just
it's-
sounds like
it's
there's a lack of
ridiculous.
communication in that office. There seems
Well-
to be a lack of, hey, listen, this guy did this last night. You have him again today. It might be a good idea if maybe you remanded him and kept him in there without bail. I mean, it just sounds like there's no communication in a very small office. You're not New York City. You're not Washington, D.C.
And here's the thing. The only thing the district court commissioner has to say is, this is a case of domestic violence. We're going to hold you over to see the judge.
Right.
That person will be in front of a judge in less than 24 hours.
So there's a person between. Okay, so you guys, I'm just trying to get the players right.
Prosecutor.
Guy gets arrested. You guys make the case. You bring it to this individual. So there's somebody between
The judge.
where you are and the judge.
That's not quite correct.
Okay.
What happens is the police officer makes the arrest.
Okay.
Okay. We don't know. The arrest takes place,
Sure.
let us say 10 o'clock at night.
Sure. Okay.
That person automatically goes before
Because you're in bed at 10 o'clock
Yeah.
at night. We've established
We've
that.
established that. We
Well,
know where you are.
most of the time.
Right.
That person automatically goes in front of a district court commissioner.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And
so
okay.
we're not
All
a
right.
player yet.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay. So then it becomes this individual's discretion or decision making to figure out what to do with this guy before he's
Exactly.
even seen a judge.
Yes, or a prosecutor. And what happens?
Why do we have that person?
Well, it's a system that's been here forever.
I can fix that.
Yeah, well, the legislature's. Well, I don't know what the legislature's doing.
Okay.
Right.
Look, my theory is, look, if a person gets locked up, take him in front of a judge.
That seems to make sense.
Right.
The defense attorney's
That's how I
there,
thought it worked.
The prosecutor's there.
And again, all my legal knowledge comes from watching Night Court, but I thought that's exactly how it works. A police officer arrests somebody, they bring him in front
We
of a
don't
judge.
have a judge on
and
duty
then-
at midnight
Oh,
or
we
2
should get
in the
one.
morning.
And then the judge says, okay, well, you seem a little hinky. Let's hold you over and we'll figure out what's going on.
Well, quite simply, the judges don't want to work at 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
I mean, that's why they created a district
Judge
court
Abrams
commissioner
needs to pull
system.
her weight more.
Yeah,
Maybe she needs
step it
to
up.
pull the night shift.
Well,
Judge Stammer Dunsford.
Well,
They need to get in
but the big difference is one thing that has to be kept in mind. You're talking about circuit court judges. This is the district court
Right,
system,
right.
which is entirely different from the circuit court system.
It's a labyrinth.
Exactly. And now, what about when it comes to, we talked about the drug situation and we talked about, do you see, and it was something that we had talked about last week, with veterans that are coming in, let me ask you this. Are you sympathetic to a veteran that maybe has some type of mental disorder, whether it's PTSD or do you see him as a veteran that's had a hard go, or do you see him just as somebody who broke the law and you need to be treated like everybody else?
I want to make a comment on that because
Sure.
I've noticed that my opponent says he wants to establish a veterans court.
Correct.
There is no question that veterans have many problems that people who don't go to the war zone do not have.
Right. Sure.
But let's now step into St. Mary's County and ask ourselves, what about St. Mary's County?
Okay.
I can state this. My opponent says he's been an attorney for 27 years. Never once has he or any other defense attorney ever approached the court, ever approached me and said, hey, don't we need a veterans court? Okay, never. I believe this is a political season statement. Now, let me go a little further.
Okay.
In all the years I've been a prosecutor, I can only think of one case, and that case right now is currently pending, where a young man has been assessed as having post-traumatic stress. He is getting ready to go into a long-term veterans program.
Okay.
So, you ask yourself, if we establish a veterans court, when's it ever going to meet? I mean,
Explain. I don't think I understand what you're saying.
there are virtually very few veterans that come through the system that
are breaking laws and
well, number one, that are breaking laws, but number two, with any evaluation of post-traumatic stress. Like I say, 27, 28, 29 years I've been here. I'm familiar with one case.
But you're not denying that veterans,
Oh,
a
no,
lot of them coming back
let me tell you.
But that doesn't necessarily equate to breaking the law. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it doesn't equate to breaking the law, but it doesn't necessarily equate to us having such a problem
I
as
see.
to require a special,
court.
So you don't think that having a veterans court is something that St. Mary's County needs right now? Because you're not seeing.
Absolutely not.
Well-
it would never be stopped.
I gotcha.
Let us take, for example.
I see what you're saying.
we
Would
have-
never meet. There's
we
not
have-
enough cases.
We have a juvenile drug court. We have an adult recovery court.
Right.
We all know that we are flooded with opiates. That establishes the need for a specialized court. I have one veteran currently in the system that has been evaluated with post-traumatic stress. One. Okay. That veteran is being treated on an individual basis.
We're talking with Richard Fritz, who is the current state attorney for St. Mary's County, and would like to continue on. We're running a little bit out of time here, but I do want to compare apples to apples. So we had your opponent in the other day. People are going to go in. They're going to go into the voting booth. They're going to see your name. They're going to see his name. Obviously, you would like them to put a little check by your name. What is the difference between you and your opponent as you see it?
Well, the difference is experience. I've known Shane Mattingly ever since he's been an attorney. Within the last 16 years, I can think of one jury trial that he's had. And I want to say that if we go back before 16
So is most of
years,
his trial, are most of his cases, do they
Flat out?
plea bargain and make some deal?
Most of his cases are pled out.
Okay.
Now, if one has an experienced attorney, they're capable of handling the cases. Let me give you an example. I've had more than 300 jury trials, hundreds and hundreds of court trials. I've had at least 50 homicide trials. I've handled basically every type of forensic evidence there is.
But crime is going down in St. Mary's.
Well, hold on
Crime
one
is
second.
going
I'm making a
down.
joke.
Let me ask a question here, and I'm just going to be devil's advocate here. If Shane Mattingly has had a number of cases pled out, wouldn't he be making a deal with your office to plead these cases out?
Oh, of course he would.
So you
Of
then
course he
become
would.
complicit in those cases not going to court.
No. Look, every case goes to court. But by the same token, if you have a case and your client is deadpan caught dealing drugs,
Right.
what are you going to do for him? You're going to end up pleading him guilty, and you're going to throw him on the mercy of the court.
I got you.
Okay. We are talking about actual trial litigation.
Okay.
There's a big difference between a prosecutor and a defense attorney. I heard him say, well, there's no real difference. Oh, yeah, there is a big difference. The big difference is the state must carry the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
When a defense attorney walks in, he sits down, he's got the presumption that his client is guilty. It is the burden of the state to strip that away on the standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay.
And that requires a lot of knowledge and experience to be able to do. It's no easy task.
Okay, let's end on a lighter note. And this is what I'm asking everybody. What do you, in your downtime, if you have any, what do you like to do? Just as a hobby or just out and about? I mean, what do you like to do?
Well,
Free time. Free time.
For the last 6 months, nothing but politics.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I know.
out of the,
I love to fish and I
Good
love
man.
to hunt.
where
Good
do you
man.
like? Where do you like to fish?
Well,
Can you tell?
freshwater,
You
saltwater.
don't tell where you like to fish.
No, hey, I have like about a 3 acre, well, not 3 acres, probably about a 2 acre pond.
Okay.
That has like 10-pound bass in it. So